All right, it is going to be a lovely day, so let's get on in there and let's get started. It is wonderful to have you all with us today. So, whether you are a seasoned pro or you are just starting your Gaggle journey with us, we are just so grateful to have you with us for 45 minutes of your time today. Our focus, just to make sure you're in the right place, is to introduce you to our new web activity monitoring tool, which is designed to help you improve student safety. And it's going to be detecting critical content that may indicate that students are engaging in self-destructive behavior or violations of your school policies. My name is Lisa Wilcoxon. Here at Gaggle, I have the incredible job of leading our customer education. Before that, I've worn tons of different hats in education, from teacher and school leader to program administrator. No matter what, I have been absolutely passionate about student safety, physical safety, psychological safety, and emotional safety. And I am so excited to be here with you all today because I truly believe that the tool that we're going to be talking about can make a real difference for kids. It is designed to support the amazing people like you all who are doing the most important work of all. So let's dive on in and let's see how we can help lighten the load together. So by the end of today's session, my goal is really to help you understand the value of Gaggle's web activity monitoring and how it can safeguard your students, improve their learning experience, and we're going to also discuss your next step if you're actually interested in implementing it. So the hope is that you're really going to see how our new web activity monitoring is going to provide districts like you with this super important tool to identify students in crisis and how it's going to extend what we already do at Gaggle by monitoring student online behavior. So let's get into it. To do that, we're going to review Gaggle's web activity monitoring, and we're going to talk about why it was developed. We'll show some examples of flagged content, and we're going to have an open Q&A so that you can have a chance to ask questions. And like I said, by the end, there's going to be a chance for you to sign up if you're interested in getting this started for your district. All right, looks like we're all on the same page, ready to rock and roll. All right, so today's focus is making our schools safer for students. And at Gaggle, as you know, we really believe that mental and physical health are key to academic success. And that's why our mission is to ensure student well-being through a combination of human expertise and technology. So we share a common vision with so many of you, right? To create schools where every student feels safe, they feel supported, both emotionally and mentally. Honestly, this is why we all do what we do, because we know that every student deserves the opportunity to thrive. So let's explore how our technology can help you achieve that vision. And remember, this isn't a one-sided effort. We truly could not do this without the dedication and hard work that you do every single day. So thank you so much again for being here and for everything that you do to make schools safer for kids. Gaggle really is your partner to protect your students' well-beings and save lives. But to truly understand how our students are faring, we want to look past any superficial metrics to more telling data so that we can find out how our students are doing. So here are some staggering statistics for us to take a look at. As you can see from the screen, it says 70% of teens report significant anxiety and depression. Suicide is the leading cause of death amongst 10 to 19-year-olds, with 3,703 suicide attempts noted annually in just high school grades alone. 20% of teens are predicted to experience a serious mental illness. And shockingly, 80% of teens who attempt suicide have previously given clear warning signs. And finally, research has shown that screen activities have been linked with suicide-related outcomes. These figures, really highlight the urgent need for vigilant, proactive monitoring of the digital spaces our students inhabit. And today, we're going to explore how Gaggle's web activity monitoring can truly be a game changer in this critical mission. If you have been using Gaggle Safety Management, and it looks like so many of you are just our trusted partners, then you know that we partner with you to be that first line of defense in keeping your students safe. Whether your district uses Google or Microsoft or both, right? We are reviewing content from your students' district accounts. We're reviewing their email, their drive, their chat, um, and the content that they are storing. And when we find questionable or harmful content that we believe is actionable, well, that's when we alert you. And while we know that this covers, right, a ton of ground in terms of how your students are using their devices, there are still some virtual spaces where students may be engaging in destructive behaviors that we haven't been monitoring just yet. So I'd love to hear from you. In what ways might students be using their district issued accounts that hasn't been monitored before? So what might students be doing on the internet with those school issued devices that is not currently being monitored? Feel free to use that chat, share all the things that you have noticed, your worst nightmares, your fears, and what you've witnessed. Yes, absolutely. Chat rooms would be interested to see if web activity monitoring will flag Google chat messages. Great question. And I think you'll be happy to know the answer. What else? Anything else that you've been worried that hasn't currently been caught when we think about our students' emails, and we think about their drives, and we think about their Google Docs? What hasn't been monitored so far? Oh, shared Google Docs that are not saved. All right, all right, all right. This is so, so helpful. Okay, all right. Web searches. Yes, Angela. Awesome. Yes. There are so many corners of the internet that students are using their devices. They are accessing everything at their fingertips, right? And we don't always have a pulse on what has been going on and how students have been using these devices. Currently, we actually can monitor chat rooms. We do monitor Google Docs, even if they are not saved. As students are typing in these Google Docs, even though they are drafts, we are able to monitor that. But as of now, until now, we actually haven't been monitoring those web searches. So additionally, we have web searches. Drafted content is something that came up. Forum posts, chat messages, right? Those are things that haven't always been monitored yet, right? Students have been left to their own devices, no pun intended, when it comes to all of these different ways of using the internet. And more recently, conversations with AI. Students have everything they need at their fingertips. And they are asking some really important and sometimes destructive questions to AI. And we are not always aware of the conversations that are taking place. We know, right, that millions of people, kids included, are turning to the internet each day to learn, to connect with each other, to gather information. They're seeking answers. And our digital footprints, like our search histories, can often reveal so much about our interests and about our concerns, the dark corners of our mind. In fact, it's often said that platforms like Google understand us better than we actually understand ourselves. And I think if you took a quick look at my own web search history, you probably could learn a lot about the corners of my mind, because how we use the internet can help gather insight on our own psyches. The way we use the internet can reveal the pulse of our country, it can reveal the pulse of your school, and it definitely can reveal the pulse of your students. And because students mirror our own adult behaviors and they are turning to the web for answers, many of them are suffering in silence, and their distress has been unnoticed until now. That all really lays the groundwork for why we are here today and what we're here to talk about, which is web activity monitoring. This powerful tool that we're talking about is going to use our advanced algorithms and keyword detection to monitor student activities in real time. So whether students are doing a harmful search or they are encountering a troubling post, our safety team will alert emergency contacts within minutes so that you can have swift action to mitigate any risks that your kids are coming across. So this system is really focused on our students' mental health. It is focused on bullying. It is focused on threats of violence and other high risk behaviors. Ultimately, we are here to ensure that the most concerning and actionable alerts that you need are reaching you and reaching your emergency contact. So with our web activity monitoring, our districts are able to more closely monitor student online activity, and then they're going to get these alerts for concerning behavior. The web activity monitoring extension goes beyond, right, just these simple searches. It is examining browser behavior across multiple web pages. So this can be things that are typed into forums, things that are typed into emails, things that are typed into email drafts that are not sent, social media fields, and even, as I said, like those unsent drafts, right, that really give us this complete picture of student online activity. Our system focuses on monitoring content that is related to our mental health and or to our students' mental health. And as I shared, this content is going to be reviewed by our Gaggle safety team. And if necessary, then the alerts are going to be sent to emergency contacts with screen captures of the student's browser activity so that you can get that additional context to understand what concerning behavior was detected and in what context. And just so you can rest assured, you can know that Gaggle Web Activity Monitoring is not reviewing any financial data or any personal identifiable information. So your privacy and your students' privacy is safe. We see this as this missing piece to more fully cover your students' digital safety, right? With Gaggle Safety Management, we already are monitoring Google Workspaces and our Office 365 accounts to ensure that any harmful activity that is conducted on your school or on your school property is being monitored and addressed. And because monitoring student browser activity is really just like a natural extension of the work that we've already done, well, from this point on, web activity monitoring is going to be a standard part of Gaggle safety management. So basically, in other words, this means that Gaggle's web activity monitoring, it's free. It's going to be free of charge to any new Gaggle customer that comes on board, and it's offered to you, our partners, free of charge as well. So what do you think is the value of being alerted to student web activity? Go ahead and share. Timely mitigation. Yes, you are absolutely going to be finding out about what your students are doing on their devices in real time. Within 7 seconds, our machine learning can detect these keywords, and they can absolutely go through our system, our multi-tier level of review, to make sure that your emergency contacts are alerted about behavior that is concerning. Awesome. They sure do. Students are using the web to search for information or to look up information for self-harm or harm of others. And they are getting answers, right? This is all at their fingertips. And while we want to believe that our students are using their devices for only good, right? They're only looking up not even the answers, right? But they're researching for their homework, and they're using it for their formative assessments, and they're using it to just save their research and their papers. That is not true, right? We know that they are using their devices for some self-destructive behavior, and we want to make sure that you are being alerted when they are using their accounts to search for information that could be harmful, right? Awesome. So this is monitoring, right, for cyberbullying. This is monitoring for suicidal ideation and other risky behaviors. And because we are monitoring for this, we can provide you with this, yay, for free and you can better intervene early in order to prevent these situations from escalating. And because we're going to be able to give you this holistic view, you're going to get a more comprehensive understanding of your students' online behavior so that you can take action when needed, right? Also, this can serve as a deterrent for students if they are made aware that monitoring is happening, and they can learn more about engaging in positive digital citizenship. Awesome. So ultimately, right, web activity monitoring can really shift that paradigm from this reactive to more proactive management of our student safety and well-being in these digital hallways. And that is really why this is a game changer, and how this, in the context of educational environments where digital safety is so important and where students' well-being is paramount, we can be that additional layer of support that you need. So at this moment, you might be wondering, how in the world does this work? Well, let's get on in and let's take a look. So our web activity monitoring is installed as a browser extension, and it's monitoring activity on your browser. It can be deployed on Chrome and on Edge browsers currently, and Safari is coming soon. So you're going to have a chance to tailor the settings to either monitor on the device level or to be deployed on the user level, depending on your district's preferences. And we'll get a little bit more into that soon. And this is going to monitor activity on your student's browser and give you that user level reporting that I know you're so interested in receiving. So web activity monitoring has really opened our eyes to some surprising places where students are communicating, places that we might not have thought to look. For instance, did you know that Pinterest has a chat feature? Well, it does. And through WAM, web activity monitoring, we've seen students using it to share incredibly sensitive information. Like this one instance where a student revealed that a family member's suicidal thoughts. And this is the kind of conversation that might have remained hidden before something like web activity monitoring. We've also found troubling messages in places like Roblox, which is a popular online game. Students are finding really creative ways, right, to communicate. And sometimes, as you can see in this example, they're using a language that we typically wouldn't associate with self-harm. But because of Gaggle's machine learning and the algorithms that we have, they are smart enough to detect those nuanced signals. So even when students aren't using the most obvious words, like in this case, they're saying, "Hey, myself," we're able to catch this. So these examples show how vital it is to have a tool like web activity monitoring that can really adapt and evolve within the ways that students are interacting online. It's about really staying like one step ahead at least so that we can see where our kids are in need the most. In this instance, we can see a student used a chat feature within their AI tutoring platform to ask about suicidal methods. This is, again, the type of hidden cry that might have easily been missed before getting insights from web activity monitoring. And it's, again, not just about catching like these concerning words, but it's about understanding the context behind them so that we can identify students who have been struggling in silence. Then, by bringing conversations to light, we can open that door to do what you do best, to give them this intervention, to give them this support, and then potentially save their life. So again, we know that real-time monitoring and immediate alerts are crucial. Here are some actual web searches that our web activity monitoring has captured. For example, can you get high with cough syrup? The risk of young people overdosing. Can you overdose on ecstasy? Die by suicide, suicide hotline, or just suicide? What to do if your dad hits you? How to deal with being bullied, and how to make a bomb. These searches signal issues like drug abuse, suicidal thoughts, domestic violence, bullying, and potential threats, right? These real-time alerts on your students' online behavior is really allowing us to act swiftly and to give them the support that they need. Imagine the difference for how to deal with being bullied leads to a timely intervention with a counselor, or when typing in suicide hotline can trigger in immediate support for possibly saving a student's life. Web activity monitoring is capturing these critical alerts, and it is enabling educators to step in right when it matters most. And we truly believe that this is protecting and supporting our students to enable them to have the safety and well-being that we know they need to thrive. Our web activity monitoring is going to provide you alerts with crucial information to help you quickly assess and address student safety concerns that arise from their online behavior and from their online activities. So as you can see from this alert, this is an alert that is very similar to the type of alerts that you would receive with our QCon and our PSS notifications. It's consistent, and it gives you this ease of understanding. Really, the difference between the alerts that you would receive from web activity monitoring versus this just lies in the level of additional details that are specific to that student's web activity. So as you can see, it's clearly at the top, there's a red icon for immediate identification. This is because of, in this example right here, this is a possible student situation. And if your district has integrated your student information system, your SIS with Gaggle, then you're also going to see parent or guardian contact information in this alert. And this is really going to expedite any response to urgent situations. Additional information will include the alert category. So whether it's a QCon or whether it's a PSS, it's going to include the student's username and email, the student's school that they attend, and of course, the search terms that were used by the student. It will even include the URL of the website that the student visited, the time of the web activity, and most importantly, a screenshot, right, of that student's screen. So it really can capture exactly what type of content they viewed or that they were typing. And this additional information in WAM really provides this valuable context to help you get that information, that context that you really need to better understand the risk that were involved in your students' online behavior. Here are actual examples of a screen capture that you might receive in a Gaggle alert. You can see that students here were searching for how to let people know that they're being abused. That, of course, would trigger a QCon or a PSS alert, depending on the specific details and context that we receive. In another instance, you can see that the students search for information on how to make a harmful device. Of course, this would definitely raise serious concerns and lead to immediate action. The screen capture can really provide this undeniable proof of the student's search activity and the specific website that they accessed. So at a glance, you can gauge the severity of the situation and, of course, the potential risks that were involved. Then we'll leave it up to you, right? You can use this information to tailor your response to the specific needs of the student, maybe get them emotional support or counseling, or involve authorities if you need to. Ultimately, the goal of these alerts is really to keep students safe, and the detail that we are providing is going to empower you to intervene early and before a crisis actually occurs. Something that I know folks are really excited about is the eyes and ears that we can provide and how we can give you that bigger picture that you might be interested in. And that's really where our reporting dashboard comes in. This is your one-stop shop for understanding really what student safety looks like in your district. And just as you were using our dashboard before to view and assess the bigger picture, well, our web activity monitoring notifications are now integrated into this reporting dashboard so that as administrators, you're able to get this overview of the incidents that are happening across your schools, across your groups, and really across your entire district. So you can use like the pre-built reports that we have and they're going to show you information so you can identify the trends, you can spot emerging issues, and you can measure some of the success of the initiatives that are taking place on your campuses. So we know, of course, right, that these alerts are just one piece of the puzzle, but this dashboard is helping to connect those dots, right? It's showing you how web activity monitoring, along with all of our other Gaggle safety features, are working together to keep your students safe. So thinking about what we've discussed so far, what's one thing that gets you most excited about using this tool? How do you see this really making a difference for your students? Yes. Oh, I love that. It fills in some of the blind spots. Awesome. Awesome. Yes, it's giving us the full picture, right? So we can help at the right moment, at the right time. Oh, yes, eliminate the need for a secondary system. Absolutely. And that's really what we're trying to do is really streamline all of the different devices and vendors that you are using so that you can trust that what we are providing gives you this big picture of how students are using their tools. Oh, I love that. Absolutely. This is giving you this insight within a tool that you are already familiar with. Um, so more training, more confusion won't happen, and you're going to be able to use that user interface that you've grown accustomed to. I love that. Awesome. Absolutely, it's going to encourage these safe online behaviors, right? And hopefully create more focused learning environments for your kids. Awesome. Thank you so much. And feel free to keep it coming. Um, so we know that there are many ways that our web activity monitoring is going to be able to support you and hopefully support your students. And I'd love to tell you just a little bit about how it has worked so far, because we have customers who are currently using it, as I've shared, right? And so there's been some stories that I'd like to share. Lorianne, great question. Do we need to enable this feature or will it be automatically enabled for you? It both. You don't need to enable it, but you do need to let us know that you want it, and we can enable it for you. So I will be sharing a form, but I might as well just share it now if you're interested. And you can use this form to indicate interest in you can use this form to indicate interest and share that you would like us to enable this for you. Just by completing this, that's all you need to do, and we'll take it from here. So I'd love to share a couple real life examples that highlight the urgency and the impact of our web activity monitoring system. So these cases show just how critical timely alerts can be in protecting our students. So first, let's talk about an elementary school district that had about 15,000 students. One day, a student who was not previously on anyone's radar made a series of alarming searches related to suicide on a school device. Our web activity monitoring flagged this as a possible student situation for suicide. The alert was immediately sent to the emergency contact for the district. And thanks to the quick action of the school counselor, the student was given immediate support and taken to a medical facility for professional evaluation. This intervention potentially saved the student's life. In a nearby elementary school, also an elementary school district, also with about 20,000 students, a student searched for how to make a bomb, again, on a school issued device. So our system detected this and issued a PSS alert. But instead of involving law enforcement, the superintendent chose a different way and a more proactive approach instead. They initiated a tier 3 intervention, which led to a discussion with the grade level about the appropriate use of school devices and serious implications of misusing digital resources, right? This educational approach significantly reduced inappropriate searches and also increased students' awareness of responsible digital behavior, right? These are very different stories. but they underscore the power and the necessity of real-time monitoring. By identifying and responding to these searches promptly, we can provide crucial support and prevent potential tragedies from taking place on our campuses. Our web activity monitoring really doesn't just alert you to the dangers, but it empowers you, right, to act swiftly and effectively so that you can ensure the safety of your students. So hopefully at this moment, you're excited, you're interested, and you want to know what it's going to take to implement our web activity monitoring. Well, there's a few decisions that you need to make in order for this to work well within your district. So here are a few key points that you might want to consider. Do you want to monitor everything that students type online or just search terms? We can help you choose the best setting for your concerns. We know that screenshots can provide crucial context. However, sometimes districts want to turn this feature off. So you can choose to do that if you'd like. You can also decide to monitor only school devices when students are on the school network. Our settings will let you focus where it matters most. And web activity monitoring really does provide you with the customization that you might need. The goal is really to balance protecting your students with achieving your district's objectives. So we're here to help you in finding the right balance. One of the big things that you'll have to decide is how you'd like to deploy the feature. You're going to have two big options. Deploying this with a device-based or an account-based. Let's start with that account-based approach. Here, the extension really follows the student's district Google account, no matter what device they use, at school, at home, even at the library. This means that you're going to get those web activity monitoring alerts even when the student isn't on a school-issued device. So this provides protection wherever the student goes, and it's going to give those alerts beyond school hours. However, there are potential privacy concerns on shared devices at home, right? And it requires the student to log into their browser for it to function. On the other hand, there's device-based extensions that are installed only on district-owned devices. Here, you're going to get that precise control over these extensions, and it's going to provide you with those reliable web activity monitoring alerts that are enforced when students log in. However, this is limited, of course, to school devices only, and it requires students to take home those devices for off-school or off-hours alerts. So you're going to get to decide which is right for you, and truly it's a balance, right? Account-based is going to give you broader coverage, while those device-based offers you a little bit more control. And the best choice really does depend on your district's priorities and how you envision student device usage at your district. So let's talk a little bit more just about setup. The big thing is that it is very easy. All you got to do is complete this form that I'm about to put in the chat, and I'll just put it in the chat one more time. Complete this form and let us know that you are interested, and we can take the action from there, set this all up for you. Once we do, well, one thing to know is that you might expect a spike, right? An initial spike in the alerts that you're going to get, maybe up to 30%. And ultimately, this is going to normalize over time as students get adjusted to monitoring. When we turn on web activity monitoring, we will see that spike. But as I said, it's going to calm down as your students adjust, but it's just good to be prepared. So this is a good time to think about your emergency contact. Are you going to use your current list, or maybe do you want to update the amount of people who are getting emergency alerts based on these new web alerts? And you can take a moment to just double check your existing contacts and those incident categories. Just make sure everything is up to date and set up the way that you want, and you are going to be good to go. So I know that we have gone through a ton of information so far, and I just want to give that space for you to ask any questions that are coming to mind. Great question. Yes, you are going to get a copy in about, I don't know, 24 to 48 hours. You'll receive a follow-up email that has this a video of this recording or recording of this presentation, if that helps. Great question. Yes. So will this create more false flags, suicide searches for a health class? So yes and no. You can always provide us with feedback and let us know that your health class is doing um, some type of research about suicide, and then we will know. We will take that into consideration when we are determining whether you should be getting alerts from us. So that will help limit the amount of alerts that you receive when it is related to like a research project. How will the extension know the context of the search? That is a great question. Um, well, while it can't go into the mind of your students, it can track the searches and the context around the most concerning searches of all. So if your student is typing in something alarming like how to kill yourself, right? Uh, but what they are doing right before is how to write a research paper about suicide. We will be able to see that search that happened within the 5 minutes prior and the 5 minutes after, and we can provide you with that context as well. So that will help us know and help you know additional context around these alerts. If more questions come to mind, please do not hesitate to let us know. I am putting into the chat the form that will help us know that we should go forward and take some action. Great. Okay. Yes. So right now we have Google Chat that is an add-on feature. So that is something that is not captured within our web activity monitoring, but it is an add-on feature that you can let our support team know or your customer success specialist know, and we will be able to get that set up for you. But it is an add-on for Google Chat. So it is something that we currently cover if you have that add-on feature. So as we wrap up today's discussion on our transformative power of Gaggle's web activity monitoring, let's talk about some next steps. If what you've learned today resonates with you and you're considering implementing this tool in your district, well, we have tried to make it as easy as possible. So please do take a moment to fill out the form that I've shared in the chat. This is going to be your first step to making the internet even safer for kids. Once you fill it out, our team can take action. If you've indicated that you have more questions and that you want us to follow up with you, we will do that. Otherwise, we'll get started on that nitty-gritty and start enabling these services for you. We're here to support you in adding this life-saving service to your school. So does this extension work on all devices like a MacBook and an iPad? Such a great question. Almost. We are working on getting our Safari and our iOS browser extension ready to go, and it should be ready within the next few weeks so that we can implement this for your district. But it is not ready right now. Right now, we have Chrome and we have Microsoft ready to go. So you can let us know that you're interested in getting your iPads and your MacBooks covered as well, and you can put that as an additional comment in the form. So we can start with the Chrome, and then we can work into MacBooks when they're ready. So as we conclude today's webinar, I'd like to leave you with this thought from Erin Bennett, who's a safety specialist in Abilene, Texas, that really encapsulates the essence, right, of why we gathered here together. She said, being able to get ahead of situations, such as when a student is suicidal or is possibly trying to plot violence against a campus, is a must these days. Gaggle's Web Activity Monitor is a wonderful tool that makes it easy to monitor these situations and conduct follow-up quickly. This quote really reminds us, right, of the vital role that timely monitoring and intervention play in safeguarding our students. Gaggle's web activity monitoring isn't just a tool, it's really part of our ongoing commitment to ensure that every student not only thrives academically, but is supported through their challenges, seen in their silent struggles, and protected on every front. So before you leave today, we do have some goodie favors. In addition to the form, please know that you can find this super duper, super handy FAQ document. I'll also put that into the chat so that you can use it. Click on that, download this amazing document, and then please do stick around if you have more questions. Thank you so much for joining us today. Really, your engagement and your dedication to student safety inspires a brighter future really for us all. So thank you for continuing this important work together and ensuring that our digital learning environments are safe and secure for our kids. Please do fill out that form and reach out today to add this life-saving service to your district safety solution. It has been my pleasure to be with you today. Thank you so, so much.